The United States hair care market size is expected to grow from approximately $16 billion in 2023 to $19 billion by 2028. Within the industry, there has been a rising demand for vegan, natural, and organic ingredients, as well as adoption of zero-waste lifestyle and conscientiousness regarding waste management. In a liquid shampoo, water is the primary ingredient. On average, water makes up 80% of the shampoo by weight, which is why most shampoos are sold in plastic containers. Shampoo bars have become increasingly popular in recent years, and for good reason. Dip Sustainable Hair Care, one of the newer companies in the market, focuses on both quality and sustainability and is being sold in small retail stores across the country. Hello and welcome to another installment of Ripple on the Road. I am Mike Shadroff, founder and CEO of the Ripple Center. And our mission is to empower young adults to become conscientious entrepreneurs and industry leaders. We believe that there are many entities within our capitalist system that have a major impact on people and the planet. We also believe, though, that you could make as much profit as you want while still being an environmental steward and taking care of, respecting people's human equity and dignity. One of our other goals is to educate and to inspire organizations and individuals to do this type of work, and we often do it by highlighting those that are doing it. Which brings me here today to Sparta, New Jersey, where I am with Kate and John Asraf. Kate is the founder of Dip Sustainable Hair Care, and John is the creative director. Thank you both for welcoming me into your home.
Yeah, thank you for taking an interest in Dip. It's really exciting for us.
Absolutely. So I'm gonna get right to it. I know that on your website it says loud and clear, we are an environmental awareness company parading around as a damn good personal care company.
Yeah.
Unpack that for us, could you?
So there's been an explosion of sustainable brands right now, and there's two lanes of them. There's this sustainable brand that really lives sustainability and marches to the beat of that drum. And then there's the cash grab sustainability. What they're trying to do is grow as fast as possible. And I understand that from a business sense, but when you grow, it's usually at the expense of the environment. And so we want to separate ourselves as environmentalists first and entrepreneurs second. We try and put the earth first before we decide to do something like explode our company and make it big.
Sure. And kind of expanding on that, I know you have been dealing with personal care products for most of your career, and there are other companies out there in the industry that are 100% full of eco-friendly ingredients, but that doesn't necessarily translate into product performance.
Right.
So how does Dip kind of balance the ingredients with the performance of the products?
So for Dip specifically, we know that if the product doesn't work, it's not sustainable, because then it reverts people back to their old habits. So we're not the most sustainable brand out there. We tried to create a product that people would keep using long term. So there's a few different ways that we did that. We really looked at luxury hair care and what is in those products that make them really work versus what's out there in the sustainability market, where a lot of bars kind of use the same ingredients. So we went with the more higher end, more expensive, and more performance ingredients, and we removed the plastic. You're taking a chance, right? Because you're going against what everyone's ever told you about what the sustainable customer wants, but what the average customer wants is something that works, that they can feel good about. They don't want something necessarily that's made for an avatar of what market research decides is a sustainable person.
And John, how do you visually kind of tell that story? How do you get that across?
That's quite a bit. I mean, we went through like maybe 10 or 12 different iterations. We knew right away the logo, we had it. We got lucky with the name Dip. And so illustrating dip to look as if it was being dipped in water was kind of a no-brainer. So that was hit pretty early on. It wasn't until we were doing the packaging where we kept kind of hitting roadblocks and stuff, and it actually came about with Sweet Valley High, which is like an old throwback to Kate's high school, or I don't maybe earlier.
No, it was like 12. 10 to 12 is when I really loved Sweet Valley High. But that's when I fell in love with hair.
Dip is nearly 2 years old, and sales have kind of reached seven figures. But one of your goals is to keep people shopping locally.
Yeah.
So that means you're not distributing your product through these big online retail spaces and big box stores. You know, why is that important to you, and who are your retailers and customers?
So it's very important to us to drive foot traffic into zero waste stores and eco-friendly salons and surf shops. From our perspective, that's where you find the environmentalists. Those are the people that actually live and breathe and know about the plastic crisis in a way that's really dear to them. You have the zero waste stores that they're trying to change the way people shop and trying to get people to abandon plastic containers and just refill everything. And that's a huge mission, and we want to support them. So you find dip in a lot of refill stores. Then there's eco-friendly salons. When you think about what you like, hairstylists, and they want to create a better world, and they're using tons of aluminum foil, tons of saran wrap, tons of just bottled hair care. And so there's a whole movement in the salon industry to go more green and kind of figure out how to recycle a lot of these aluminum foils and to use less or work with techniques that eliminate the need for saran wrap. And then you have the surfers who literally live in the ocean, and they go out there and, in places like Bali or Indonesia where this surfing is beautiful. Then there's some places you're surfing in plastic and you're seeing, the thing that you love is being tarnished by the thing that you are, which is crazy.
Now, you both have children, right? So eliminating plastics is probably really important to you. How did this all come about? Talk about, why it's so significant, or how you came to this realization.
I don't know, just being like a good scout, we were always taught to just be stewards of the environment early on. And, it wasn't, boring or geeky of me to pick up garbage if we saw it, even if it wasn't ours. I was just kind of instilled, and I try to bring that to my kids. And so, yeah, when we created a brand, because we've both been in beauty for so long, you can't help, especially as a package designer, you can't help but sometimes overthink and say, I'm making garbage for a living. If you think of the end road for it, it's just always ending up in the landfill. So we wanted to change that and kind of do the anti-packaging a little bit. And so Kate, really got down to the formulation. I think it took like 2 years of trial and error to make sure we could get a solid formula that worked to the same level of expectations that she wanted from the salon. For me, bringing that into just the cardboard box was like the best, and so I just wanted to make it as beautiful as possible with just those 6 sides.
I'd also like to kind of acknowledge our parents. So Jonathan's dad was raised in Morocco and his mom was raised in Switzerland, and those are both places where they're not consumer-based places. And same with my mom and my dad. My dad's Iranian, and my mom was English. And my mom, raised my 3 older siblings in the desert of Iran, and she lived with very little consumer goods. So I think that there's this piece of us that was always raised to not cherish or covet things as much as you kind of see that's it's happening in America. It's the cool and fun thing about America that people want to buy a lot of things, but it's also one of the scariest things about America when you see just the chart of how much Americans buy a year versus everywhere else in the world. That's a big piece of how we wanted to shift to dip is shampoo and conditioner, but we wanted to, our mission's actually bigger than that. We want to shift the way people buy and think about buying things. So our conditioner bar lasts a full year for many people. That means from someone like me, or just like a mom in general that used to buy expensive conditioner once a month, can buy 1 bar and be set for the whole year. And the idea that that mom doesn't have to keep reminding herself to keep buying and buying and buying, because generally when you go to buy something, you buy other things around it. That was a big part of the goal. So Dip is a shampoo and conditioner company, but I think our customers understand that the messaging is really bigger than that.
And clearly, the background you just shared with me, you unabashedly kind of reflect that on your website and some of your values. We're here because we think capitalism can be done well, with gratitude, not greed, conservation, not consumerism, and action, not activism.
There's companies out there that aren't solving problems. Instead, they're creating new things for you to buy in the name of sustainability, and that's what we're trying to not do.
You use the phrase also, and either of you can apply this to what you do as part of the company, perfectionism is just not sustainable. So what does that mean, for how you approach the work that either of you do?
Plastic is one of those bulletproof things, and I think most people expect every material to function like plastic, because in a way it is kind of perfect. It doesn't, it just always looks good no matter what. And so I think if you're a little bit okay with materials aging over time and seeing the beauty of it aging, and maybe hopefully if it's circular, to me that's kind of perfect in a poetic way, not in a tangible.
Yeah, and I think as consumers approach sustainability, it actually hurts the movement if a brand expects them, is always like finger waggling at them, or like expects people to make every choice that's sustainable under the sun, because I don't think that brings joy to people. I think what brings joy to people is finding something that they really love and sticking to it. What really, really kind of diminishes joy is feeling like you're never doing enough for the planet. And I think that is something that just sustainability in general has to work on its messaging. It needs sustainability needs like new branding, right? Because it's not fair to expect people to feel guilty for the actions of other big corporations that have kind of switched the game, right?
And what's nice about Dip is you're kind of removing the burden from the consumer, because they don't have to make those decisions. You've kind of made it for them.
Yeah, and we try and never really talk about plastic at all. We don't want plastic free to be our selling point. The selling point is that it really saves people a lot of money if they're buying really luxury hair care. Long term, so if you initially invest, it's going to feel like a lot of money, but when you realize a year later that you haven't had to buy conditioner, then it kind of evens out in your brain,
Anything else you want to share with us about the product or the business?
We just launched, so we call it the Great Filled Dead Stock, and what that is we found brands that have bottles that they never were going to use. So we've probably salvaged around 40,000 bottles, and we're filling them with products that do better in plastic than they would in aluminum or glass. So we've saved them. They absolutely were going to go straight to a landfill, and they're actually quite ugly. Yeah, I don't love how they look. But it doesn't matter. Yeah, that was Jonathan's task to try and make them like beautiful enough. But I think what's really funny about them is that the idea that we've just saved them and given them another life is like enough for a lot of our customers. Yeah,
and a lot of people don't realize it happens a ton in beauty, just for those components and those factories. They'll charge you for warehousing space. So if it's, it becomes obsolete if it's not moving off the shelf. So they say, hey, the companies look at it, it costs less money for me to just dump it, get my money back from the warehouse. And so that's where we kind of come in and rescue it almost. It's like maybe we can use these odd ends of bottles and vessels.
Yeah. But that's a really exciting thing that we haven't really broadcast enough yet, only because we're testing to see how people respond to it.
And we only have that one SKU.
Yeah, we only have one.
I think it'll get a lot more exciting if we can get just make the more robust, the line with those Great Filled Dead Stock.
Yeah.
Final question. What advice would you give to entrepreneurs of all ages who are wondering whether profit can be in the same equation as people on the planet?
I think the advice I can give is release yourself from the pressure to be that person that pitches on Shark Tank, right? Like you can have a beautiful business without having to grow. Like you can have a business that hits a certain milestone or a threshold of sales every month without growth, and it can pay you to be at home with your family, and it can pay the two of you to be parents and spend more time with your children. It can be done, and it can also pay for you to support these small business owners all around the country. Like it can be done.
It's kind of almost a metaphor to even us being like green or more earth conscious, is we focus on the impact that we can do locally, like to our community, rather than trying to chase, the whole planet. It makes it more intimidating. And I think it's kind of the same way with, having a company that's globally, winning. I don't know a better way to say that, but there is a parallel there, I'm sure. Would you say?
Yeah, I think that chasing local is doesn't mean that you're sacrificing profit. That road can actually lead to profit.
On that note, and I also have to say, in full transparency, I am a consumer. I used my Dip shampoo and conditioner bar this morning for this interview.
Awesome.
So I'm assuming it's going to turn out all right.
Yeah.
All right.
Great.
And again, thank you both for your time, and keep up the
you.
amazing work.
Yeah,
Cool.
thank you.
You got it.
All right.